sideways or up?
Whichever you think looks best.
That looks great. I'm smiling. Cute.
California. My two sons went to White Station, and as Tom mentioned, I'm helping with, some of you may have heard about a pilot project that we're pursuing to privately improve White Station and Whitehaven. And so pursuant to some master plans that one of your friends, Brad Martin, when he was at the University of Memphis, was kind enough to commission for us. And I'll show you some of what we've done outside and what we propose for the future. Otherwise, just let me know what you want to see. Mr. Campbell has given me the key, and so we can get in wherever we want to get into. We'll start. We'll go into and look at the auditorium, and again, it's really whatever you want to. It's whatever you want to look at. We'll look in the auditorium. We'll go outside. We'll look at the science labs, which are a little problematic, and we're not going to sugarcoat it. It's problematic. We'll go down the halls and we'll look at the senior gym has just been polyurethane, so it's a little slick. And we'll look in there. There's a brand new, if y'all remember the weight room that was there adjacent to the senior gym. The Booster Club improved it a couple of years ago and updated it. It's nice to look at. We look outside. The school system spent, at our request, about $3 million, 2018, to upgrade the outside, to put finally HVAC and so on. They've had some trouble keeping their $3 million HVAC system going. Mr. Campbell's been keeping it going, but hey. We'll show you all of that and then come back to the courtyard. We'll tell you what we did. Some of y'all probably remember that courtyard. After you've left, it became sort of kind of a nice way to put it, is a sort of a drainage challenged sort of garbage collecting, and it's where the goth kids went and ate. So that was what its claim to fame was. So we converted it into something a little bit nicer, and then our subsequent project is going to be to improve that admin parking lot so that we have 15,000 square feet essentially of parkland right in the middle of the school. So anyways,
Where's the Dudley Langston wing going to be?
it is right down here.
It's okay, good.
And you did preserve the smoking tree, right?
Smoking tree went away.
Plan to do smoking tree.
It was on the corner right in the back there.
Really? And they let y'all smoke?
The girls had a designated bathroom.
Well, we did too. We did too, down by the shop.
Oh,
My
yeah?
sons had gone to a smoking tree, I would have spanked them.
Well, we got spanked all the time.
All right, well again, if we're going too fast and there's something that we're seeing that y'all want to see, just... So anyways, welcome back. You made it through White Station High School. You made it through Vietnam. You made it through Watergate, and you made it through disco. Now you're back. And welcome back.
What is the school?
Woodstock, there you go. 50th anniversary.
What is the school right now? Is it magnet? Is it?
It's called optional.
It's optional.
There's 2,000 kids roughly here, 2,100 kids here. About half of them are optional, which means you've got to have a certain GPA, a certain test score, and a certain behavioral consistency to remain in the optional program. And in the optional program, you get access to it's easier to get into the AP and honors, but basically you get a better quality of educational opportunity. Why? Because all of the kids who are at your same educational level are all crammed together in one room. So the least common denominator to which they teach is way up here, and as an end result, you end up with kids who can jump this high, jumping this high. Why? Because the bar is this high. And everybody jumps over it. And look, I'm a father and I like to brag, okay? So my son, Samuel, graduated, he did all right. He was number 75 in his class. He did okay. He went to Purdue and is in engineering. It's one of the top engineering schools in the country. He's in the top 10%. He got straight A's. For most of the semesters he was at Purdue from White Station, where he was just okay. And that tells you what you get through the optional program at White Station. I mean, SCS's numbers, the Shelby County School System's numbers are just not good. But the numbers here are incredible. And the numbers that you see of the school performing, that's when you include the traditional, those numbers, you follow? So it's not when you see our great numbers, it's just the optional kids, it's everybody. So the optional kids are bringing up the traditional kids, and they're all doing extremely well, but if you just took the optional, it would be way up here. That's what they're accomplishing. Ms. Holland, our new principal, is what she's accomplishing. They've got 30 AP classes, they've got 100 honors classes, they've got 100 teachers. And the odd thing about Shelby County Schools is that White Station is doing so well academically that the school system just kind of lets it go on its own to figure out how to make do with what they can be made do with. A lot of their better teachers want to come here because of the opportunities, but they just don't shower resources on White Station. They don't shower resources on the other top academic performer, which is Whitehaven. Whitehaven is also a top academic performer, and they don't shower resources on them either. That's why those are the two schools that our pilot project is focusing in on. These are the two schools where, if we want to look at it like Marx would, these are the two schools of the middle class. And if you want to keep the middle class in the public school system, you've got to have schools that can serve their needs well. And both of these schools do, but their physical plants are substantially degraded. And that's what our effort is meaning to do and resolve privately. So any other questions?
Y'all have special needs still here? Hearing impaired and all that?
Yeah, they do a lot of that. I mean, they've got, I think every school is supposed to do that. There's an obligation under the
Right.
ADA to provide those sorts of opportunities for the kids that need it. Because still, although there's optional, and you can get in here optionally, there's still a traditional component that come here because it's zoned for that. And so yeah, you've got to provide that. You don't send those kids elsewhere. Okay. Any questions? Anybody else want coffee? Tom said the coffee's great.
And then it looks just like it.
Mine was always above the top of the middle row. Nobody sat down here.
Oh my gosh. They're paddles and they get No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
Right.
Good pass.
Very, very nice library.
Oh, it was state of the art when it was built.
It is beautiful.
Howard had his own office. Remember, it was air conditioned.
It was one of the few. This wing was the only air-conditioned section of the school.
Yeah, well, remember that? Mary, did you see any periodicals
I
in
know,
there?
it's a meeting room. There's no periodicals left.
Oh,
What the
man, how you do
nerve?
that?
How could they not have magazines and stuff? That was my office. This looks the same.
Yeah.
That was a periodical.
All right.
And look, they've got seats for them to check out books and all that. That's nice. They didn't have that.
That's right.
Oh my goodness.
Go do what you need to do, quickly. He's playing golf and he's got to take me back to the hotel and get to the golf course by 11:15.
Oh,
So,
Look at
Small place, you got stores on small, nothing
And wooden chairs.
Was, we had no computers.
Our very first project that we started to pursue privately, thanks to monies that we received from some White Station alum, Susan Arney and her parents, Honey and Rudy Scheit. They funded some plans for us to turn this into a learning center, which what it entailed was, this is about 6,500 square feet, adding 8,500 square feet that way, going up essentially a floor, and turning this into a full-fledged early 21st century library, as opposed to really kind of what it is now, which is not. And what we have,
looks pretty good to me.
what it includes, what we're proposing is a distance learning lab over there, which is essentially, it links you into NASA, and there are programs where you learn about photosynthesis in outer space and all this kind of really cool stuff. And they've got those distance learning labs in a lot of the private schools, but not in the public schools. But it's a maker space over here, which is essentially a STEM lab and so on, and then computer labs and so on. So that's our very first project. We of course did not succeed in raising any money other than from the Scheit family, and so we backed off and started pursuing smaller projects. But this, when we finally return back to White Station and pursue our next big project, it's this one. And it's a $3 million project. Foodco already priced it. It's a lot. But, you know, it's what you need.
Where do you send your donation?
Well, when we finally do it, it'll go to it's our 501c3. It's called School Seed.
Okay.
And it's the 501c3 that takes all private donations that end up going to the school system. From Race to the Top, from Race to the Top to the Gates. Nobody gives it to the school system. they give it to School Seed pursuant to really tight contracts that control the expenditure of every dime, so that absolutely nothing is under the control of the school system. Not that we have any concern, but we don't. No one is going to donate a private penny to SES, unfortunately, and respectfully, for good reason. So it goes privately, it's controlled privately, and that's our relationship. And the contract we have with School Seed, I drafted it, and it's tight. It's tight. We control everything, and which is great. In exchange for 2%. So when $1 is donated to one of our projects, 98 cents goes to the project.
Excellent.
And so, because all of our efforts are volunteer, and School Seed takes the 2% to fiscally control, send out all the 501c3 documentation so you get your tax deduction. It works beautifully. It really works well.
Tell us who you are. I missed all of
I'm
that.
Richard Myers. I'm a lawyer at Clankner Brown, and my sons both went to school here.
I see. And so you're in charge of all of us?
Today I am.
Today I
Okay.
We can be a rowdy bunch, though.
All right, we can go out that way and sit down to look.
Remember where they had it?
Yes, sir. Yeah, but you remember when this was the first air-conditioned spot?
Oh, yes. Pure 100% guessing. Too much glare.
Yeah, I had to put my sunglasses back on.
Well, hopefully I get something.
Can you change the aperture?
I can change how close it is, but I can't change
Oh, you can
anything
zoom, but
else.
no aperture.
I don't know what aperture is.
Oh,
either.
well, it's either manual or automatic, and if you put it on manual, you can change the...
Well, I can't see here.
Oh.
I can't see what I'm filming.
Oh.
So it's, oh, there it is.
You're getting some great shots, though. But, her daughter made it. My daughter was buying a brand new car, and she gave me her Lexus. She already had us. And she went, well, I think that's the cutest one in driveway. Well, that would, she has her car, and she's first driving. Hey guys, everybody! It's smaller, she feels like the Lexus is too big.
Richard will be here in a second, but if y'all need to leave, anybody needs to leave to go to the golf course? 10 till 11 now. What's the tea time? I think 11:30.
Local did a great job. It was like pulling teeth, but I mean he did a great job. That is a cistern. That cistern holds rainwater, and then we use it to irrigate all of the plants. We've got five, whatever those are, bay magnolias or whatever they are. And then we've got these 5 trees here, and then all this grass. All of this is meant to be sustainable. It was all drafted. The plans and the plants and everything, the cistern irrigation system, was all planned by Dalhoff Thomas, landscape architects. And it was meant to be sustainable. That's the whole point. Sustainable and durable, so we just don't have to mess with it. You'll notice that in the middle you see that plaque. It's the Cider Holt, this little thing right here. We named it after Cider Holt. Your classmate Brad Martin and then Ed Barnett asked us through a very generous donation to dedicate this in their honor. These are their plaques. Named after them. I know some of you probably had less than positive experiences being punished by these two. I've heard those stories. Maybe your memories aren't as fond, but Ed and Brad are good. So this is these metal plaques also were done by our metal artists, and they indicate those who took an active role in helping the patients. But it's a great project. Everything is working extremely well, and anyone who works here will tell you. And Mr. Campbell and I just had this conversation, and Ms. Holland, our new principal, will tell you the same. That this has meant so much to the kids. It's amazing. Why? Because this was, without question, the ugliest, worst part of White Station High School is right here. And y'all remember, and it only got worse. I mean, we've got this great before and after photo, and my friend, a good friend of mine named Kitty Cannon, said to me, well, so that is a prison yard. How she described what this looked like, and it's true, it did.
Kitty Cannon was Shady Grove Presbyterian Church, wasn't she, Kitty Cannon?
Yes.
I grew up in that church.
I'm an elder. But anyway, so it's this is our first project. It's worked extremely well. The whole point of a smaller project is to make sure that our models are compliant. We got about 33,000 in the school system. Figuring out how to get that, make that work, get the money out of them.